your eyes can predict health issues. I've listened to this carefully. How your eyes can predict health issues. A lot of people don't realize this, but you have ophthalmologists and opticians who are keen to put glasses on you, and they use machines to read the weakness of your eyes, other conditions, and they can see quite a bit by looking at your eyes. They can see quite a bit. They can tell cholesterol, they can tell eye weakness, okay, but they cannot do what iridologists like us can do. Iridology is based on a chart based on 2 or 3 million assessments of the iris, okay, and it's called the iridology chart, okay. Now that's the right iridology is the science of reading the iris of the eye. So in the eye, you've got 3 components. You've got the pupil, you've got the actual iris, which is the colored part of the eye, the iris, and you've also got the sclera, which is the whites of the eyes. Now, the iris can be blue, can be brown, it can be hazel, it can be green, it can be very dark, it can be hazel, it can be a mixture of all of those. And apparently go back 3,000 or 4,000 years, some of the earlier pharaohs, there was such a unique breed, some of them had purple eyes, and I think that's been bred out of them. But worldwide, 3% of the world, 3%, have got blue eyes, okay? The majority of people in the world got brown eyes, okay? So iridology can give you the tremendous amount of great information on the health of the person that you're photographing. So we use very powerful cameras. We photograph the eyes, and I've got 4 here which are really, really revealing, and you're going to be amazed how we save people's lives by doing this. Now this one was a Chinese, she was half Chinese, half Russian, and she came to see me in Malaysia and also in Singapore. And what happened, she came back and forth. She was so amazed, right? So we photographed a right eye. See, that's the right eye. And you can see here, can you see that? See, that's toxicity, that brown color. This one here, can you see that, like this elliptical shape like that? And that was a right lung, okay? So if you look at the chart, okay, that's how the chart, that's the chart there. Can you see that blue amount this is 12, 3, 6, 9. At 9 o'clock here, that blue ring, and that's at 3 o'clock here on the left eye. In the right iris and the left iris, the right iris, lungs, okay? At that point, I spotted this in the eye when we photograph the eyes. Just give me a second. I spotted this, and what actually happened was that it rang alarm bells. Can you see that? The other eye didn't have that. It was just like that as well. But that, and I said to her, "Are you a smoker?" She said, "How do you know that?" I said, your lungs damaged." So I was able to convince her to go and see a specialist, and lo and behold, the cancer was 3 months old. Now normally cancer can take 14 months, sometimes 14 years to manifest, but in this case, nobody would have picked it up, but I picked it up, and that cancer was, she had a specialist treatment done, and that cancer was 3 months old in the lungs, and she was a smoker for 40 cigarettes. Number 1. Number 2, have a look at this one. This is what I call a petal eye. This is called a petal eye. Can you see like petals? All right. What that means, if you look at all these petals, all right, that is a person whose immune system and general health is very weak indeed, okay? You can see there's like blown up petals, okay? And also you can see where here is all like orangey color. That means there's toxicity of the bowel and general weakness of every body, every internal organs. So we know then how to fix the body with that. Number 2. Number 3, spectacular case in Malaysia. This woman was on 60 cigarettes a day, and we did the photographs at 11 o'clock at night, and when we took the photograph looking down, we could see a massive irritation of the capillaries in her eye. The reason why, she was smoking 60 cigarettes per day, right? And she wasn't going to listen, you could tell, so it was a waste of money. But it taught us something. Now, when you smoke that heavy, 60, 70 cigarettes a day, that's how the eyes get so revoltingly damaged. Look at that. Bad. Now, a couple more. This one here is a blue-eyed that's gone different color. You can see here. Can you see this? This part here is part of the liver. Okay, liver. This is the lung area. This is the liver here. This is the kidneys and the internal organs here. This one's a thyroid. So all these colors. This here means toxicity in the bowel. This is the liver for sure, right? And that's lungs. And also there's 2 or 3 rings, stress rings. That person is about 50% to 60% sick with about 12 organs. So we know then what to do with that one. Last but not least, a spectacular case I did in Melbourne was a Jewish guy feeling very sick. I found that he worked at a battery factory. And what happened as a result, he's also a smoker, by the way. And look at it. Can you see all these brown rings? All of those brown rings are because when he worked at a battery factory, although he had wearing protective clothing, the chemicals from making the plastic, the batteries, all the plastic experiments and all the plastic components, his eyes and his body had absorbed so many chemicals, so much chemicals made to the batteries, it had penetrated inside the pupil and the iris and populated it with these colors. These are all marks of chemicals to make batteries. Very, very deadly indeed. Now, that would take about 5 years to clean up and with very intensive work. And we know that with the right treatment, we can clear all of this up. But if he kept on working at cigarette factory, despite all the protective gear, he would die eventually of some form of cancer. Okay? Now, a lot of that information is in our books. So when you go to our channel, if you look at this one, benefits of having an iridology consultation, and then read it, order it, get it, and then download this. Also, what your eyes can reveal about your internal health. There's a lot of great information about these two. Like that, when you've done that, follow the system, like the video, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification, and you'll get some really, really informative information like you've just received shortly. Thank you.